You're listening to Dramas Over Flowers with Saya, Anisa, and Paroma. Hello, this is Paroma. Solo, somewhat. I have a guest. It's Deepanjana. Do you guys remember that really long, never-ending episode we did on Bora de Bora like a year
No,
ago?
because anyone, sorry, but I was going to say because anyone who started listening to it is still listening to it. It is that long.
Probably. Probably. It was like some almost 4 hour long thing. I don't even remember how much of it I cut. I don't think I cut like much of it. So it's probably still like 3 hours long. So yeah, that guest, the Panjana, is back with us today. Welcome. Say hi.
Hello, and thank you so much once again for risking me coming back on this podcast.
Thank you for trusting me. See, I have promised her that today's episode is going to be under an hour. We have a timer set and all, which, it was Khadijah's idea. And because I cannot be trusted to host responsibly. So today, we have gathered here to talk about, mostly squeal about, no gain, no love.
너 취직 안 하니? 여기 알바만 몇 년째야?
할 거야. 손님 결혼하면.
재수없어! 사내 공모하네요? 1등 기획으로 사장 직속 TF팀을 만든대. 사내 연애, 사내 결혼, 그딴 거 필요 없어. 사내 공모 1등, 초고속 승진.
See, like my voice has like gone 15 octaves higher just at the sound of the title. Like that's how happy I am with this drama.
I had middling expectations. Like I watch all Shinmina outings just because it's Shinmina. I love watching her on my screen. But I didn't actually have very high hopes. Like they weren't giving us a lot of they didn't tell us what much of the plot was. I think the trailer came out like right before it started airing. So there wasn't much time to form opinions ahead of time. I'd seen the posters and I was like, oh, cool, cute rom-com, Shinmina, what else do I need? Also, I like Kim Young-dae. I've watched him in, I think, like 3 or 4 projects. 4, I think. I think it was around Shooting Star that he became like a solid male lead in my head and also just in general. And he's always taken on very interesting projects like Forbidden Marriage with like its wild and somewhat improper sex jokes. But I love that drama so much. It was funny. But here's the thing. I never expected to see him next to somebody like Shinmina. Shinmina in my head is like A-list. She is like, cream de la cream, top of the top. Kim Young-dae is still rising, and I didn't think that he was on top of the crop of like those, younger male actors to be able to grab this spot. So it must have been a matter of casting the perfect actor, and I think they got it right.
I think the casting of Kim Young-dae definitely is amazing. But like just coming back to what you were saying about Shinmina, I didn't have high expectations either, simply because while, like you just said, she is creme de la creme, but both Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha, which I know is a hit, but I didn't like it. But with both that one and Hometown Blues, I really feel like she was given characters which did not make the most of her skills.
Our Blues, yeah, correct.
One of my problems with Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha was that the show really, the writing really almost penalized that female lead for being ambitious, for instance, which was something that really didn't sit with me very well. And then that affects the way I'm seeing the character. It also limits what a woman actor can do with that kind of role. Similarly, with Our Blues, now, on one hand, it's one of those sad, melancholic kind of roles, which I think actors love to do because they feel like they are going to be actors, like all that thespian, like, their inner Laurence Olivier has just all come bursting forth like Athena from Zeus's head. But it's such a soppy, sentimental, one-note character. My point is, after those two, my expectations of Shinmina are somewhat low. So then when I start watching this, I'm just like, see, this is why you're an A-lister. This you are perfection in this role, like it's great writing. I mean, we will naturally gush about this later. It is really, really fun writing so far. I've seen till episode 6 at the point at which we're recording. But the writing is also feeling as vibrant and effervescent and intelligent as it is because of her performance. Generally, the performances are really good in the show, but like hers particularly, she's really anchoring this. And Kim Young Dae, like you said, like I didn't know much about him at all. I have seen some of Shooting Stars, but but here's the thing, right? Like it's that character that he's playing in this show. In this drama, he's playing a guy who's essentially nondescript when we start off. He works at a convenience store. He makes a fantastic impression on anyone who meets him, but he himself is not a star in any way or promising in any way. So for that kind of role, he is perfect. Like if you had someone like, I'm going to mention your and my favorite, Chaunu, playing this role, now, while in terms of prettiness, he would be great, neat, perfect fit. But one, he has exactly zero point 0.5 expressions that he can manage, which is a problem. But also, right now, he's too starry. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just comes out as a celebrity.
He has chewing gum face, which is basically the male lead face, and you can't escape it. And as soon as he's
Exactly.
cast in any role, you're like, there's no way you're a convenience store guy. Like that's just not. You're secretly a model, or like something a secret superstar just hiding here somehow.
I mean, there's so many really, really adorable scenes so far in this drama, but like one of my favorites is when Kim Ji-wook, that's Kim Young-dae's character, does the tuxedo fashion show, right? And there are these two women who are having an absolute orgasm of pleasure at the sight of him. It's so very funny because, first of all, of course, it's sort of flipping that whole narrative of the bride who has to try on dress after dress after dress and be viewed and sort of paraded. But at the same time, he has a certain amount of agency. He's enjoying himself. He's enjoying the attention. But that makeover moment, you can't have it for someone like Chaunu. You can't have it for someone who's already known as a star.
Yeah, but also may I just say I could literally not see the difference. Like he took off his specs, I couldn't tell. So when Shinmina turned around and gasped, I was like, wait, what happened? What am I missing?
I'm sorry, Paroma. You and I belong to a culture of Rabne Banadi Jodi, where a woman could not recognize her own husband because he shaved off the thinnest mustache since 1960s.
And wore spandex. Like, come on.
I mean, we can accept that a guy in a blue velvet tuxedo is now unrecognizable from the way he looked in a hoodie. I refuse to believe that you could not suspend disbelief and go with it.
I could suspend disbelief. I just couldn't tell the difference. Like I was like, usually even with like when there is like the Princess Diaries moment, like the with the glasses, the heavy glasses, the braces, the curly hair suddenly becoming smooth. Like you can at least tell if it was a matter of spot the difference, you could spot the difference. Like with Kim Young Dae, I could not literally spot the difference. I was like, he looks the same.
Also, again, like I love the fact that it's the guy who has to have the makeover in this show because this sort of flipping of tropes is something that I enjoy tremendously. That said, I really liked him with the long hair better. I do think he was cuter with the long hair.
Somebody told me that was a wig, and I was like, really? Because that looked like his natural hair.
Also, he should grow his hair to look like that. It is very, very flattering on him. But anyway, do you want to summarize this show before we go any further?
See, this is the thing. I need other people to tell me how to do this role because I am no good at it. All right. Very briefly, this drama is about Shin Mina's character, which is Son Hye-young, who grew up with a mother who ran like a foster care for a while. And she always felt like really neglected by her mother, while her mother like lavished attention on her foster children. That's a really interesting thread. She grows up to be somebody who's just determined not to have any losses in life. Like, whatever she does, the thing that she hates most is to lose out. Now, she currently lives with two of her former foster sisters, current besties, and they also have like a really loving but also complicated relationship, which again, really love. And has a contentious relationship with this one convenience store clerk, but refuses to go to any other store because that would be her losing out, and she never loses out. And this convenience store clerk is Kim Yong-dae's character, Kim Ji-yook. And it's like they have, I can't explain it, but I don't think they meet until almost like 20 minutes into the first episode or something. First, the pacing of the writing is so good, I didn't care. But two, from the moment they met, I was like, this is going to work. This is going to work, clearly. Okay, sorry, back to the summary. So our convenience store clerk, Ji-yook, has also a complicated past in that he grew up with his grandmom. He doesn't know who his father is. His mom kind of abandoned him and left for Canada. He is really smart, but also unwilling to just, bend over and work for corporate South Korea. So occasionally when his like mentors would like push him to go for interviews, he will, but then he will answer the way he wants to answer and not the way, interviewers would want him to answer. So, and that creates basically a situation where he comes off as like the most amazing guy ever. Just everybody loves him. Like, he's literally called an angel wherever he goes, and the only person who doesn't think he's an angel is Hae-young. So that's our dynamic. That's how it starts. And all of this culminates into a fake marriage at one point, and that is a trope we love, or I love. And yeah, I can't tell you any more than that. Watch the drama, please. It's just 6 episodes in, and I love it so much. We are 12 episodes in total.
I'm going to add my tuppence to your detailed summary, which
Yes,
has
please.
very cleverly slid past any kind of spoiler. I'm very impressed. So the things that I want to add is that this is written by Kim Hae-young, who is the same writer who wrote Her Private Life. And this is relevant to the writing because there are certain things so far that both these shows have in common. And like we said, like, it's so far only 6 episodes, which is halfway through the show. Now, the reason why I think it is a good thing that it's a 12 episode show is that in Her Private Life, which is a 16 episode show, there are 4 episodes of absolute nonsense backstory, which was clearly thrown in there because she was like, I got just 12 episodes, guys. I don't know what to do. It is such bollocks. And it just pulls down what is otherwise a charming love story. So I'm hoping that the fact that she has to contain herself within 12 will mean that that sort of rubbish will not happen. Now, what I do love about her writing is that, oh God, I've just assumed this writer is a she, because I just assume all K-drama writers are
No,
women.
it's Hae-young. It's spelled the way a woman's name would be spelled. So Kim Hae-young is
I
definitely
know nothing.
she.
I am very, very, very illiterate in these matters. But yes, I assumed, and I correctly assumed for once. What I love about this writer's writing in both Her Private Life and No Gain, No Love is that her female protagonists are very ambitious career women who almost in both cases have a kind of secret life of some sort. In Her Private Life, it's a fandom. And in No Gain, No Love, it's this fake marriage, which becomes this little secret that she keeps from various parts of her life. So this whole thing of how a woman has to juggle different facets of herself because she's a different thing in a different space is something that this writer gets really well. This writer also has a thing about legitimacy of children. Both Her Private Life and this one, No Gain, No Love, have illegitimate young boys as who grow up to be the heroes, basically. And the experience of being a boy who cannot point to paternity is something that informs these heroes in a very, very strong way.
And apparently makes them nicer people. Just they are very feminist.
Who the hell knew? But also the missing mother is something that informs these characters a lot as well. So that's there are resonances like this also. Her private life, for those who haven't seen it, is about the protagonist is an art curator. She runs a gallery. The gallery is Chum Art Gallery, if I remember correctly. And the director of that gallery makes a cameo.
We got a lovely cameo.
Which was great. I was like, this is the kind of homage I'm here for. Now, here's the thing that I'm loving the most about No Gain, No Love. One of the reasons why I got into K-dramas, and I'm a very new watcher, I don't claim to be any kind of expert at all, but I claim to be an enthusiast. One of the reasons that I got into it is that it's very unabashedly mainstream entertainment. It's mass entertainment, right? And the fact that it's mass does not mean that it cannot be intelligent. Like, you constantly get what I've said about this drama. You get intelligent escapist fluffiness. Best combination, and you've got this in truckloads in No Gain, No Love. Like, the first opening scene of this drama is this little girl, Hae-young as a little girl, in her school playing field. And she asks the coach why the girls play dodgeball and they have no other option while the boys play soccer.
Which is worse. Dodgeball would be better.
Yeah, really. And the point that it's without ever being, preachy about it or being obvious in any way, this drama clearly tells you that the playing field may be level technically, but it is not divided equally between boys and girls. Sexism is something that comes up again and again and again in this show.
So subtly. I mean, just to show the division of the field, how much space
There's a
the soccer playing boys are taking up and how little space the girls with their handball are taking up. And it's decided by the coach. And also, Hae-young speaking up is not liked by her peers because it's the environment that the coach has created. You're holding up the others from playing. You're the one who's like the troublemaker. Don't you want to finish this off and go to the next period? That situation where she's asking a legitimate question, but she's suppressed by the environment and her peers because that's the system. I was so damn impressed.
And it comes up again and again, right? Like, much later, there's a point at which one of Hae-young's colleagues explains to her why there's a kind of glass ceiling in the company that she works at. And essentially, it has everything to do with a misdemeanor or whatever, like a little sordid past of the chairman.
The many affairs.
And she asks at one point that a guy couldn't keep it in his pants is the reason why I, as a single woman, can't get a promotion. That's ridiculous. Isn't that sexism?
The weirdness of the situation where the chairman is no longer in the company, it's his son, and it's the chairman's wife who's like, no, there can be no single females around my son because he might just have an affair. Like, he's not allowed to date, clearly. But also, here's the thing. There is an implication that the chairman didn't just have affairs, that he was basically abusing his position to take advantage of the single women around him. But it's never clearly stated. So when the mother does that, like the diktat, it's a really weird, a double-edged thing. On the one hand, we are assuming that she doesn't want her son having affairs with working class women. But on the other hand, it also sounds like, because she keeps talking about him being just like his father, that she's afraid he might abuse his power and take advantage of women around him. And that it makes the entire situation so complex.
It does. She's a very interesting character, much like most of the characters in this show.
Yeah.
But there's a point at which, so one of the funniest scenes, for me at least, in this drama is the one in which the son, he's the second lead and he's the one who's getting the spin-off that...
Hold on. All right. This episode, by the way, is going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't watched this drama yet, this is probably not the episode you should be listening to. whenever we give like a major spoiler, we will like warn you in audio before we do that, but generally expect scenes to be spoiled. Yeah, like we might not tell you like major birth secrets, but
No,
yeah.
I'm not spoiling any major plot secret. All I'm telling you is that this second lead, who has a spin off later, he chances upon some erotica. The scene
I
in
love that
which
so
he
much.
reads the erotica is one of the funniest scenes I've seen in K dramas. And it's got horror music. He is aghast. Like he's petrified of what he's reading. And of course, he
He
keeps
also
reading
can't
it.
stop. Here's the thing, and this is a spoiler for this particular segment of the drama. This erotica was found in the
His
a
mother's iPad.
tablet. Yeah, his mother's iPad, and the horror this grown man feels at the concept that his mother reads erotica, like his mother's, like the existence of his mother's, I don't know, desire, very normal human sexual like thoughts appalls him so much he collapses, he faints, he has to be taken to the hospital. And
It's
I'm like,
so funny.
man child 101, I believe this can actually happen. This is how outraged men get though sometimes when they
Well,
find
it's
out that
particular.
they're
Absolutely, but it's very interesting in this particular context because clearly he has grown up always knowing of his father as a sexual being, and that's a bad thing. So, like, his mother's virtue in his head has clearly been very tied to her not being associated with anything sexual. So, when this erotica comes in, it's really shaking his world up. But that's a really funny sequence, which is connected to a later scene. And I'm not going to spoil what happens there, but all I'm going to say is that when she has to choose between anything else and her son, she always picks her son. We've seen it happen twice in the show so far, and there's enough indication that even if she is not happy with how he's behaved, she will still protect him to the to a significant extent. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
I think, I mean, we should not go any further on this because we really don't know where it's going to go in the show. Also, it's a spoiler that's not worth it.
I agree. I will not spoil. Like I have speculations about how involved she is in a particular plot point, because I think majorly. But also, I do just want to say though, her control over her son is so interesting to me because on the one hand, it's like the protective control, like the protective feelings a mother has, but on the other hand, she exemplifies the kind of women living in patriarchy but also at the top of that pyramid who sort of like exercise their power through their son. So if the son is no longer under their control and if the son suffers, then she suffers. So the son must be protected at all costs, not just because she loves him but because he is directly her source of power.
Yeah.
She can give up her husband but not her son, and I find their dynamics so well thought out. Like every dialogue between them, the confidence of that woman, by the way, she's never apologetic for what was found out. I love her so much. I find her scary, but I love her.
Yeah, no, but I mean that I think is a through line that connects all the women characters that we have in the drama. Like there's a scene in which Shin Min-ho or Son Hye-young has to go to meet somebody, a colleague of hers who has quit, to convince him to come back. And she asks Kim Ji-wook, the guy, that do I look okay? And he's like, you look really intimidating. And she's like, really? And she doesn't see it, and he's saying, yeah, you do. You always do. And that thing of, and the point is, her reaction to that isn't that, oh, so sad, I must try and make myself smaller. Like, okay, fine, I tried, but this is as much as I can do. The confidence that she radiates,
Yeah.
I mean, it's there's a scene in which she literally walks in as the Scarlet Letter woman, which is hilarious because she's married. The problem is that she's married, and that's what makes her the Scarlet Witch kind of a thing. It's the thing that is so delicious about this writing is that it takes so many tropes and has fun with it, you know? Like, the writer is so well aware that she's picking up things that you know and running with them and then giving them just a twist at the last minute. You know, it's like an in joke with the audience, which is something that, you know, I enjoy that tremendously.
It's just really good writing. She uses the tropes as foundation for the story she really wants to tell. And her scenes have meaning. They are connected with each other. It's a pleasure to watch each episode because, like, you can draw references from previous episodes. You are really curious about how certain storylines will pan out. You can tell when hints are being dropped. It's also the dialogues themselves are just, again, like I said, the interaction between these people, all of them, they reveal things about each character and like how smart they are, what kind of people they are. It's okay. So just like you said, like just Shin Mina's confidence. In another scene, she is doing like this trust exercise with Kim Young Lee's character Jiuk, and so she's like, I'm gonna fall back now, and he's pretending that he's like walked off, and she's like, well, he's not there anymore, is he? He's left. So she's about to turn around, but she trips, and of course he's there to catch her, and that's great. That's super cute. But then he says, is this a trust exercise or a strength exercise? She doesn't take offense though. She immediately grins at him and is like, this is the weight of my trust in you. And she gives him a thumbs up, and my heart bursts out of my chest.
You know, I saw that scene, and it's preceded by her imagining him sort of, you know, literally throwing her off this building, which is one of the best. Like that, I've gifted that, and I will be using it frequently in every conversation.
So good.
Anyway,
and her throwing the finger as she's falling off the building.
Beautiful stuff. But you know that moment when she grins at him and gives him the little thumbs up, I was just like, how can you not fall in love with this woman? Like, who is not going to fall in love with this woman?
And you can see him falling in love, like just like his eyes lighting up.
I mean, he has no chance. There is no human being that would have a chance. But also, there's a scene in which he's Kim Ji-wook's the hero basically has been made to traipse around for hours in a bee costume because the bee is the mascot of the company he works for. And at one point, he takes off the mask on his head, and his beauty, which, by the way, he is shot so beautifully in that scene.
Yeah,
but it's again, it's the reactions. There are a whole bunch of women who, you know, there's that saying that you need honey to draw the bees. In this case, it's the bee, and it's drawing so much honey. And the reason why I kept thinking honey was because, you know, Yobo keeps getting translated as honey in our subtitles. And I was like, you are really taking that saying and flipping it how? And just when I thought this joke can't go anywhere, any higher, he breathes out. And the condensation is in the shape of a heart.
The masking, I love it so much. The editing team is just on a proper high right now. Also, sometime after this scene, where he's basically at this point, they are fake married, but he's also working in the same company that Shin Mina is. Shin Mina is, of course, like much higher position. And she has to evaluate his performance, right? And in her evaluation, where she's just like, she's not happy with him. She doesn't want him around. So she gives him like really crappy ratings. She's like, he uses his looks to attract customers. Okay.
And his face when he hears that evaluation is prize-worthy, truly prize-worthy. But it's, you know, I mean, I will be candid. It's been a while since I've enjoyed a romance K-drama so much. It's
same.
not been the most exciting in recent times. There have been a few that have been good. It's not like there haven't been. And I don't watch as much as you do. So obviously my experience is much limited. So that caveat always exists.
But it just means you're watching less trash.
No, I mean, maybe, but like I think I'm missing out in some cases as well. I try to make up for it by watching other stuff also and hoping for the best. But anyway, the thing is that from what I've seen, I just like even something like My Lovely Runner, which started off really well, kind of lost steam around the way. There've been shows that have gone, they've got the numbers and stuff, like Queen of Hearts, for instance. I saw
Queen
that
of
it got like
Tears.
great. Oh, sorry, Queen of Tears. I saw that it got the ratings and whatnot. Um, but my God, that was nonsense. My point is that it's been a while since there's been really smart writing for me, and this is so far so satisfying, so comforting, and such a great combination in the way that it shows romance and it shows the world that it's set in. You have a difficult mother-daughter relationship, you have complicated friendship between women, you have, I think you're going to see a reasonably complicated set of friendships between men as well, because the second lead is a CEO. The CEO and his secretary have a really interesting dynamic where the secretary wants to grow out of this role and the CEO is like, no, I will not let you because I need you to do the actual work for
He's
me.
clearly
There's
trying to keep his bestie close. He doesn't have friends. It's very
no
clear.
friends. Yeah. So like there's so many of these complicated relationships that are still handled with a kind of lightness that is essential for escapist stuff. And there's a lot of importance, I think, especially when the world is going to hell, which it seems to be doing on a regular basis these days. There's a real need for good escapism. And one of the reasons why I think K dramas had the kind of surge, especially in India, that it did during the pandemic was because that was a period when we really needed that kind of intelligent escapism. And we got that because for those of us like me who were discovering this genre, there was such a great backlog that we could, sort of
Yeah.
sink into literally. And unfortunately, we discovered the genre at a time when it had really found itself and had a really strong set of past works and current works. From there, it's been much more difficult territory. And I know that you've talked about this really well and written also about it, about the way the streaming platforms entering the K dramas television space has really
It
been a
messed things up.
challenge. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a challenge for the writers, it's been a challenge for the directors, and they've really struggled with what has come with this new popularity and the kind of, lustful lucre that comes with
Yeah.
success.
It's changed the systems that they were used to, like who produces, who gets contracted, who are permanent employees. The entire labor system has been devastated in a way, and rearranged, and like traditional monetization methods are not working properly anymore, and there is an over dependence on streaming at this point, which producers are aware is a bad thing because they can see it doesn't work quite often and then they face huge losses. So I think the interesting thing is that two things that have happened in the last, I think, almost a year, but definitely 6 to 8 months, is we've been seeing lot more like those mid-budget, mid-tier dramas coming up, and I think we'll see more of them. But also, the dependence on old tropes is going up. Dramas depending heavily on tropes that were very popular in the early 2010s are cropping up very frequently now. And it's all on the writers and the new generation of directors to figure out a way to use those tropes, because those tropes, there was a reason they were popular. Like when Business Proposal came out, people lost their mind because it was, I mean, it like, hey, it had issues, big issues. But the callback to the older tropes was welcome to people. The people had forgotten what it was like to watch something that crack. And again, it's all on the writers. Writers like this one, wait, I've forgotten her name.
Kim Hae-young. You mean
Kim
Yogi
Hae-young.
No Life,
Yeah. Writers like Kim Hae-young to use old tropes. I'm like, the contract marriage is one of the oldest tropes in K-dramas and in Romance
Yeah.
Landia in general. But use it well. Like the whole birth secret thing. I mean, come on, like there are so many tropes they're using in this drama regularly, but in an intelligent way. Okay, so as an example, and this is a very minor thing, it pleased me so much, but nobody I've told this to yet has been as impressed as me. Very early on, when Shinmina's character is choosing Wait, I will get her name right. Haeyoung is chasing Jiyook to basically be like, she just goes up to him one day, buying stuff at a store and is like, marry me. And
Drunk.
yeah, she's totally drunk.
She's
But
drunk.
it's never a matter of her waking up the next day deeply regretting it. She had clearly thought this through ahead of time before she had gone and approached him. Like, she has no regrets. He would be the guy, whether she's drunk or not, whom she would proposition
I
this
think
way.
one of the loveliest scenes, which again showed for me, and again I haven't seen that many of Shin Mina's, but showed off Shin Mina's physical comedy skills, is the scene in which Haeyoung basically Duke is shoving her out of the convenience store, saying that you are insane. Go away. I will not marry you because I do not know you and you just showed up drunk. And she's like, no, you have to marry me or whatever. Like the physical comedy of that moment between the door and him and her is so well done. But yeah, like the point there is, aside from the physical comedy being amazing, like you said, she's done something in a drunken sort of impulse, but she remembers it. Oh my God, this trope of women forgetting things
Oh,
is
that's
just
just
really
the most
painful.
annoying. But I haven't told you the scene that I actually like that made me so happy. It comes after that. Like, she propositions him. He's like, no. And then she comes the next day. He's like, no. It goes on for a few days. At this point, he's known her as a customer for like almost 5 years now. He's seen her in various relationships before, and she's always been very out and loud about stuff. So, okay, sorry, another sidebar. This is a sexually experienced heroine who talks
I
about like
know.
having protected sex, about how the man needs to like give her an orgasm, damn it, or she will kick him out. And she has these conversations in public. I love her so much. Okay, sorry,
Good.
going back to the scene. So after a while, where he finally decides, okay, fine, I will do it, the first thing he does is goes up to her and then pulls her close. Like, he takes an umbrella, kind of hands it to her. She's holding the umbrella, uses the umbrella to pull her close. And he's like, do you feel something? And so immediately the trope your head goes to is every time a character has done this to do like a check of like, are you attracted to me? Because if you are, then we can't do this. That's what you're thinking. That's what Shirvina's do thinking. Sorry, Haeyoung is thinking. But what is Jiyook thinking? Is this woman allergic to cats? Because I have cat hair on me and she needs to take care of my cat in exchange for me playing her fake husband. I love this so much.
I do think this has something to do with you being a cat parent yourself.
I mean, yes, very much. But also, at no point do these gags ever feel out of place. Like, it's just the organic way everything works. You've seen him feed cats before. It's just him even saying, yeah, fine, I'll do it. Not, and by the way, they never discuss a payment or anything like that. It never goes to that. She approaches him pretty much as an equal. Like, she looks at him as like a younger man, so she feels slightly protective towards him. You see in different situations where he gets into trouble and she's clearly protective. But it's never a matter of her looking down at him status wise, which was
Yeah, there's no
something.
condescension.
There was no condescension, exactly. So it's never a matter of like, she says like, do this as a part-time job, as an alba, but like, he doesn't approach it that way. He's like, no, just take care of my cat. I need to get my cat sterilized. I have nowhere to keep her, so keep her with you.
So the thing that we are told very early on, and it's self-professed by Haeyoung as well, is that she will not tolerate any losses, that she will not
Yeah,
let herself fall behind. And yet the writing constantly shows that she is willing to suffer condemnation from society to protect those that she feels she can protect. So, like
absolutely.
whether it's her sister, her foster sister, the foster child that she has a sisterly relationship with, and then becomes one of her besties, or Jiuk, whom she hires as her husband. There are multiple scenes where she does things which will make people think badly of her, and she's like, "I can take it. I'm senior enough. I'm privileged enough. I'm whatever else X enough to be able to take it.
The clarity of thought this woman has. Like, she's very complicated, yes, but that doesn't make her an unaware, like, vain person. She's very aware of her privileges, her status in the world, and also, like, in the company, once, like, all of these things fall into place and Jiyuk has also entered the company, the reason she gives him for not wanting people to know that they are
Oh.
married, I love it so much. It's not even a matter of, oh, they will find out that we had a fake marriage, therefore nobody. That's fine. But that is not even like her main reason. Her main reason makes so much sense to any woman who's ever worked in any kind of corporate structure. She
Or any
doesn't,
job.
or any job, honestly. She doesn't want to be known as his wife, and that is exactly what will happen. And not only will that be, her designation going forth, Kim Ji-yook's wife, but all of his mistakes, embarrassments will reflect on her. They are her fault first. If he comes to office in a ruffled shirt, or if he comes to office tired, or like if he says something about not having eaten properly, everybody will look to her and be like, why aren't you taking care of your husband? It's your fault that he hasn't done well in whatever project he recently did. It'll always come down to that. And she's damn right. And we see this happening in real time once, everybody finds out. But it's, just this drama is just.
That's one of the things. No Gain, No Love is, on the face of it, it's a comedy romance. And it is a comedy romance.
It's so
it's
funny.
very much a funny romantic comedy. It is also absolutely as much about sexism in the workplace. She's talking about problems that any woman who has ever held down a job will be absolutely able to relate to. And to be able to sort of fold these conversations in within a thoroughly fluffy candy floss story structure, using cliches which have actually traditionally been used to set up feminine stereotypes and a masculine feminine dynamic that is far from feminist. I love it. This is, when we talk about, there are certain phrases that I think that, I'm an old woman, so, forgive me for sounding like this, but there are certain phrases that I feel that in the age of social media are used without anybody really thinking about what it means. Like reclaiming narrative, like trauma bonding. People don't know what it means. It sounds cool. You've heard 5 people say it, and you sort of, decide a meaning and go with it. But this is reclaiming a narrative. There is a certain narrative. It is being claimed and it is being rewritten through this and reimagined. And hopefully this will stick. We don't know if it will, but these are the kind of things that make culture, language, and sort of the kind of elements that go into our socializing. This is the sort of mainstream storytelling that will be able to change concepts. And the moment we are able to change this sort of thing, it will change how we think of relationships, how we think of stereotypes, what we look up to as ideals. Like a little thing, Shinmina has this moment where, like, basically she leads a single life and she's mostly focused on work. She doesn't have breakfast in the mornings. And at one point, Ju brings her a triangle gimbap, basically, for breakfast. It's so sweet, but also in a genre where particularly women actors rarely are shown eating, her mouth is bulging with food. And it's cute, sure, but it's also a very, very pointed reminder, I think, that you can also eat. You're allowed to do this and you will still be beautiful. He will still just be stunned by how gorgeous you are, even if your face is asymmetrical because one side is bulging with gimbap in it. It's little things like that. You're creating tropes because these are everyday situations that may not actually happen. 9 times out of 10, they will not happen. But they take an everyday place and they infuse it with the possibility of magic. That's what you want cliches to do. And I love how this writer is using the cliches to not uphold ideas and structures and relationship dynamics that we don't want continuing, which was my problem to a large extent with a lot of the romance dramas that I saw last year and maybe the year before last as well. That for all the things that they were able to manage, a lot of them, too many of them, fell back on the guy as the savior, the woman as weak, a certain kind of ideal of virginal purity. These things sort of started coming back because, like you said, you're falling back upon things that you know have worked. These are commercially viable cliches. So, like, I really love how here the commercially viable cliches are being used within a very contemporary context, which does not slut shame, which celebrates a feminist notion of what a woman it can be like, what a woman heroine can be like. Also, the three friends, I don't know whether it's because of my limited watching, but they totally reminded me of the trio from Be Mellow.
Yeah, of course. No, but to be fair, that is a yeah. But I think that may be another like deliberate use of something audiences have already gotten used to. Because before Be Mellow did that, because it is my first life did it.
Yes,
It was
yes.
also very similar structure of like the one bold, a taller, bolder, slightly wilder friend, and the one that is like cutesy, but also like secretly, has like, a sexual imagination, basically. And then you have the middle one, who's usually a heroine. And I just love that all of those things are true, but they are still like distinct people. And I find it interesting that they haven't done a whole lot with their individual stories as yet. I absolutely like for now I can't quite tell what the story is with Chow Hee Song, which is the actress Joo Min Kyung. She's the bold, tall one. She is an audio narrator, a voiceover artist. She's a voiceover artist, and she has a relationship, like a long-term relationship with this producer, but it seems to be kind of an open relationship, though they haven't quite specified it yet. Like she's hesitant to talk about it with her friends.
But also, there's that lovely scene. I thought it was a wonderful scene. At least, this might be my cat hair moment, by the way. But she's having a conversation with Hae-young, and she says, "I just realized that I don't want to marry him.
Yeah.
Like, it's been 10 years, I know, and he wants to get married. Meanwhile, he's going around seeing other people, but she doesn't know that, I think. But
I think she
she's like, I
knows
don't want."
it. I genuinely think she knows it because you remember that there's that one scene with like her finding something in the cushion but then
The
ignoring
earring,
it.
the
I
earring.
don't think it's a matter of cheating. I think they have an open relationship, but that is not a known thing to anybody else outside them.
Maybe. We'll find out, I guess. But like,
Yeah.
I really liked the idea of just throwing, again, like, it's in detail, but it's just thrown in as a possibility that we should consider, that
Yeah.
maybe a woman doesn't want to settle down. Maybe she just wants this open-ended kind of thing which doesn't have a full stop to it. What a lovely idea to just give that range.
Agreed, completely. And also, this is very much a Suji thing from because this is my first life. She also didn't want to get married.
Yeah, yeah,
No, but it's
exactly.
I find her character really interesting. And the most that we have seen about with her arc is with Hae-young so far. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure what's happening with the relationship end. But yes, I really liked that this guy who is absolutely seeing other people and stuff looks to her and goes like, we've been together for so long, I think we should get married. And I'm thinking, dude, why does it sound like he's doing the thing where she's the most comfortable, so he's like, I'm at that age, I want babies. Let's do this. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I really do want her to re-examine the relationship, but I think we will probably have more of that happening in the second half of the drama. The other friend slash foster sister, the other roommate slash foster sister slash best friend is played by Han Ji-hyun, whose name in the drama is both Nam Jae-yeon, and she is a writer, and her pseudonym is Yeon Bora. And she it's the most bonkers plot line, but also really affecting at times. She is a manhwa writer, which and she writes stories that have a lot of erotic scenes. And the CEO's mother we mentioned before is a huge fan. She's getting an audio drama right now, guys. I'm just I'm just so pleased with this entire world building. Anyway, so her storyline is like a lot more complicated. She is getting a spin-off. And the weird thing about the spin-off is that the spin-off was announced almost before the drama started airing. So people kind of already knew who she was getting paired up with. And it was not obvious in the drama right off the bat. It kind of seemed like she was going to get paired with somebody else. So that was an interesting production choice. But yeah.
Very interesting production choice, because I didn't know about the spin-off until I heard you talk about it in your earlier podcast episode. This is my source of information. And when I was like, oh, I thought she was going to hook up with Hajun, like, she's imagining him. But no.
Oh man, her imaginations also. Like those
Hilarious.
clips. Steamy and hilarious.
But here's the thing. I really like the actor who's performing Nam Jae-hyun's character, Han Ji-hyun, because she's got this really, really, really subtle and precise comic timing. Like, she's able to make everyday moments have just the right level of humor to go with those sound effects that K-dramas love so much. It's very easy to go over the top with this sort of thing, and she doesn't. So I think she's a wonderful comic actress. However, and this is where, if you do that spoilery thing that you guys do, that needs to happen here.
I'm gonna put something here.
Thank you. Because this is my biggest problem with the K-drama, with this K-drama right now. The troll gets off too damn easily.
Yeah,
because
I
the
agree.
guy who does the trolling does it out of clear spite, but he obviously, like, he leaves 100 comments,
Yeah.
and they become progressively toxic. One that pushes her to a catatonic trauma state, right? And all he has to do to redeem himself in both her eyes and that of the audience is literally pick Nam Jae-hyun up. I mean, give me a damn break. All right, no, he also has to be really rich. He's able to pay her hospital bill and get her a limited edition phone. And here's the thing, I'm not saying that money is not important, but to suggest that the feelings that she had, the very genuine feelings of pain and hurt and, triggering that she had, will be solaced away by money and muscles is borderline offensive to me.
I actually found that to be one of the weakest parts of this drama so far. I needed him to suffer longer because his redemption came too soon. Even if she hasn't completely forgiven him yet, it doesn't really matter. That redemption arc where he just suffers and gets hated on needed to be longer. However, I think this is the problem with having a 12-episode drama. They are hurrying that whole entire thing. I found it so interesting that the CEO character, he's played by Lee Sang-hee, and his name is Bo Kyu-hyun. His father's name sounds like an abuse, and it definitely was meant that way. Anyway, so Kyu-hyun has, he seems like a nice, normal guy, except, privileged CEO dude. And his descent into incel behavior was so rapid and so violent. And the thing is that he, of course, like, she sees the comments, she, makes a police complaint, he gets called in, he has to go to the police station, all of that stuff is fine. But his apologies to her are so very They are out of fear that his reputation would be tarnished, that people will find out. He doesn't seem to have understood exactly the hurt that he caused. He hasn't introspected at all why and how he descended to that level. And again, I allow for humans to have like dark moments and do horrible shit. And they should be given a chance to redeem themselves unless they have hurt the other person, beyond repair, in which case, jump off a cliff. But which, by the way, I'm so sorry. This is just the environment. That doesn't mean I support capital punishment. I don't. It's a stupid thing. It doesn't help anything. Sorry, coming back to my main thesis. This guy it needed to be longer. Like, you can't, even if she hasn't forgiven him, you're trying to make the audience forgive him quickly. And that's just, what does it mean? Oh, also, in my girl's defense, she paid him back. It doesn't even matter. Like, she paid him back. And the other thing is, moments before she sends him a text of like, fine, we'll compromise, on your sentence, her entire career is about to be devastated because his privileged ass mother is like, I will go ruin her now because she is trying to ruin my son. And he doesn't stop her. He's just, that is how apologetic he is. I'm mad at this guy. I need him to suffer and do more than just be cute. Like, right now he's cute and that's not doing it for me.
So to the point that you were making about him not suffering and, his concern being about his reputation, I think it's a little bit worse because it's not even, he realizes that more than his reputation rather, he's concerned about upsetting his father, who will take the company away from him. So his concern is entirely selfish. It's not even what the world will think of him, but that he will not inherit, or he will not get his inheritance. He will not get the company that he's the CEO of. So it's like, friend, you've basically been born into this. You haven't earned this in the slightest. It's not even like this is your hard work and therefore you would like to protect it. Nothing of the sort. So that's one thing. The other thing is, like you said, yes, she pays him back. Namjaeon pays Gyo Hyun back, and that's great. But that he has enough money to pay for her bill and give her the phone is something that impresses her. Now, while she asks him to do community service in order to earn her apology, and he does start at least doing that community service, the K-drama wants us to forgive him. The drama has forgiven him already.
Exactly.
She may not have entirely, but the drama has forgiven him already. And that's the problem. That is the problem with the writing. And my problem with all of this is that when you are doing a spin-off, you didn't need to have them make up in this show. This drama could have gone on punishing him for at least 4 more episodes before and made him have some kind of epiphany about the impact that his words have had on a person. We could also have been given more time to have him sort of, spiral down into this incel behavior rather than it just being one night of madness. Because again, it's not like I expect realism, but you had the time. Like, you didn't have to force all of this into this one. I have a feeling, and I would be very happy to be proven wrong, but given it's a 12 episode show, I have a very bad feeling that Hee-sung is the one whose narrative will get shortchanged because these two because Hae-young and Jaeon's stories are the ones that are being told in this show. And therefore Hee-sung, because I'm also saying this because the guy that she's paired with is singularly forgettable.
Very. I'm pretty sure she's supposed to end up like, free and single, which again, I think that's a perfectly nice, happy ending. But I did want something more to be happening with her character than it is right now.
We have gone past our deadline. I'm just saying.
We have, I know. The timer went off. I quietly silenced it. I've given us like 10 more minutes, of which we have like 7.5 left. Okay.
Come on, now we wrap it up.
All right. So, last leg of the podcast. There is one pair that we haven't spoken about till now, and that is Hae-young's ex. played by Govok. His name is Anu. He is such an ass. But also, unsurprising for this writer, a complicated ass. Like I just thought he was just like hateable grade A, like for most of the last 6 episodes. But then it turns out even hateable grade A's have like layers, like onion. So this guy is married. Like he was cheating on Haeyoung and ended up marrying this other girl. Their relationship is so interesting to me because nobody in the company knows that they've dated. He's married to somebody who is in the company and also kind of connected to the owner of the company. So nobody can know that they have dated. So at various points, they're both worried that the secret would come out for various reasons. And it's just, on the one hand, they are enemies. But there are these tiny moments where he comes to her defense. And it's just, it's the years of, or a very long time of him knowing her. It's like their relationship, the minor good moments that they have had, that kind of peeking out, which I found really interesting. The other interesting thing that just it became really interesting to me recently was Irene's character. That's the wife. I just thought she was like, yeah, she was this Cheval princess working in this company, but she's getting very interesting right now. I think she might know more than she's letting on, for instance. And she's a very ambitious woman. Again, complexity. We love that. All right. With
Also,
that.
Gok, I think, they talk about being stereotyped. Gok, I think, is establishing himself as the bad husband, bad boyfriend.
Yeah.
If there is a role of a bad boyfriend or a bad husband, he will play it. And he's so good at it. He did it in Wonder Woman. He did it in Business Proposal. He's done it now. I
You're
mean, this is what
right.
he does. He's very good at being vile. So, like,
He
props to
is.
him for living into that
But
role.
I genuinely think he stood out the most in this role because I don't remember him from any of those dramas, and I've watched both.
Yeah, no, I remember him doing this. But here's the thing, right? Like, there's in the last episode that has been aired so far, there's a group dinner which has all these three couples along with the chairman and his wife. So all four couples effectively. And that one dinner really showed Woo-jae and Yirin to have layers that we did not anticipate. So, for
Yeah.
example, Woo-jae, like you were saying, has just been like an outright bastard for most of these 5 episodes. And then suddenly in this dinner, he has this moment where he's very considerate towards what Haeyoung needs. Like he steps in without being asked to step in, without being needed to. He could have just done nothing and that would have been fine, but he steps up. Yearn, on the other hand, has seemed like the nicest person and, incredibly sweet, incredibly supportive, all sorts of lovely, sweet things. And you see now in this dynamic on the table that she keeps getting sidelined, like rudely ignored and sidelined, which is frankly for me enough of a villain origin story, if one should choose to do it that way. But, like you don't, it suddenly made me wonder that, wow, what else am I not seeing of her life?
I like that at this point, midpoint of the drama, the two most likely candidates for the ultimate villain position are both complicated women. To my mind, like that speculation may not meet everybody's, theory of what's going on, but to my mind, we will not say who. Um, but and was unexpected, but it makes sense and I am really enjoying it. What are your thoughts, feelings, hopes for the next leg of this drama?
At an extremely shallow but very important level, I cannot wait for the first kiss. It's just been built up so well right now that just like all of my nerve endings are fizzy just at the thought of it. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. No, but seriously, I'm very interested to see how the drama basically handles the dynamic that they've set up between Haeyoung being the older woman, the more experienced woman, and her husband slash love interest, or and love interest, not slash, being somewhat of an ingenue, but also very manly and masculine at the same time. We've recently seen this done in a beautiful way in Midnight Romance and Hagwon. So that's constantly sort of like it's a parallel in my head right now. So I'm very interested to see how they play on that. And on the whole, I basically want to know if my theories about the bad guy are correct, obviously.
Of course.
But in general, I'm very interested to see how this workplace dynamic that she's explored so well, the writer has explored so well through Shinmina's character. I want to see how she's able to manage it. It would be a real shame if we lost that to just go deep into some family and legitimacy tangle
I don't
in the
want
guy's
that.
life. Like if it became all about Jiuk's parentage and where he belongs and if he belongs and I'll be a little bit disappointed. No question about it.
It would
We've
definitely be
had,
her private life flashbacks if that
yeah,
happens.
it really would, because that was the problem there. But the thing is that as with her private life, even though it has so many bits that didn't work out, what worked was so
Oh,
good
so
and is
good.
so rewatchable that, and I feel that same way about No Gain, No Love, that even if things go somewhat awry later on, there's just so much to love already that this will still be a memorable show. I just hope it just stays as good as it is right now. Really,
Fingers
that's it.
crossed. Thank God's crossed. Okay, and yeah, we couldn't stay under an hour, but we stayed under an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm proud of the wins we can have. Thank you so much, Deepanjana, for joining me on this episode. If you want people to find you at all, where should they find you?
Why would they want to find me? They have better
why?
things
Why
to
do
do.
you want? Go away.
Go and watch No Gain, No Love instead. No, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Threads. You can find me in places, but I'm pretty sure you don't need or want to find me. It's all good.
Just in case, if they have like a wild thought and want to chase you down for some reason. Just this one thing. If you're watching No Gain No Love on Disney Plus, like if that's where your country is playing it, try and see if it's also on Prime Videos, like the Amazon service, because they have better subtitles. The Disney one is abysmal. I'm appalled at the quality of subtitling because usually Disney does a better job. So yeah, that's about it. And damn it, I don't remember what my ending pattern is. I will just wing it. You can find Dramas Over Flowers on Instagram at dramasoverflow_. You can find it on Twitter at dramasoverflow. You can find me, Paroma, at the Drama Notes everywhere. Like, okay, specifically Instagram, Twitter, Threads. I'm way more active on Threads right now than anywhere else. And you can email us at dramasoverflowers@gmail.com. We have a Substack link below. I think that's about it. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. You can also follow Nisa and Saya, but like I forgot their handles. Sorry. Okay, bye guys. Sorry. Bye guys.